one girl that was like in the lead. I'm like, how that like, I'm like watching her and like she's just going, like she's like running. Like I'm like, how do you run in snowshoes, first of all? Like, and second of all, like just keep the same pace for the whole 3 miles. Like, geez.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. We'll call the meeting to order, meeting of council for February the 22nd, 2016. First up, of course, is Way to Go, everybody in town. That was a great Trappers Festival. Well done to the entire community. You guys really shone brightly. We'll move on to the agenda. Item number 2 is adoption of agenda resolution, please.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zielinski. Be it resolved that the agenda be adopted as amended, if I may. I'd just like to add to it, and I'm not sure where, but just a brief report on the Gateway Graydon corner rink, because they have an AGM and stuff coming up.
That would be under your reports, would it not? At the end?
Is it listed on there? It's not normally, that's all.
We'll make sure it's okay. Any questions on this? I'll call a question. All those in favor? Okay, we're carried. Paying closer attention this time. I missed about 8 signatures last meeting. All right, item number 3, confirmation of minutes from council and committee of the whole.
Moved by Councillor Rock, seconded by Councillor Zielinski. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of February 8th, 2016, and the committee of the whole minutes of February 8th, 2016, be hereby approved, all statutory declarations having been complied with.
Okay, any questions on this? Call the question in. All in favor? Carried. All right, item 5.1, waste bylaw number 4541, second reading.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 511. Gotcha. My bad. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Commodore, whereas when bylaw number 4534 was reviewed and changes were made, the free residential post-Christmas pickup was removed in error. Therefore, be it resolved that bylaw number 4541, being a bylaw of the town of The Pas to provide for a waste management system and to repeal bylaw number 4534, be read the second time.
Paperwork. Any discussion? I'll call the question. Sorry. Councillor Rock.
I never know when to bring this up, but now's as good a time as any with regard to these resolutions where we repeal an existing bylaw as part of the bylaw change. And my concern is that we're being asked to do 2 things by one vote. On the one hand, we're being asked to approve a completely new bylaw. And on the second hand, we're being asked to repeal an old bylaw. And we refer to these things only by number, not by title, because the title of both bylaws is exactly the same as I understand it. So what we're saying is, well, we're going to accept this bylaw with the waste management title, and we're going to throw out this bylaw with the waste management title, which creates a confusing dynamic. And those 2 actions, I think, are conflicting to council. It's a situation where we're really, the intent of what we're doing is to simply amend an existing bylaw. And to amend a bylaw shouldn't require that we throw it out. It should merely require that we make changes to it as directed by council. So it's one of those things that I think going forward, when we're only dealing with an amendment, we should treat it as an amendment, as opposed to where if we're repealing 2 or 3 different bylaws to create a new one, that's a different situation, and you would include repealing. But if you're repealing the same bylaw that you're creating, when you look at them as based on the title, then we send conflicting messages. The other problem I have is if we only refer to bylaws by number, numbers are, by their very nature, it's a coding, cataloging system. It's not clear and concise to our citizens what we're actually doing. So I would strongly suggest and hope that we reconsider how this can be done to accommodate the fact that we're merely amending an existing bylaw as opposed to disposing of an old one and creating a brand new one. Because if we I'm an old kinsman, if we split the motion, that creates a situation where you'd have to repeal one in the beginning and then you'd have to approve a new one. And that has negative connotations in itself. So that's my comments on that.
Anybody else?
Maybe we should bring that to a committee of the whole agenda. Clearly, I'm sure there is good reason for the system that exists. I'd love to hear about it, but I'd love to hear about it through committee of the whole so that we can have administration provide us with some proper background about why it's set up the way that it is and what changes can be made or can't be made, and allow for some input that way.
I believe it is that you cannot amend a bylaw, you have to repeal it and replace it even if you're just adding something to it. Perhaps we should be more thorough on how we discuss it, but like I said, we can, or as Andrew said, we can bring it up and put it on the whole agenda.
Yeah, 'cause part of the thing is this is the process we've been using for a while, and its general intent is fine. I think what it's asking us as councillors to make a decision on is where I have a real problem. Because if I'm throwing out the same one I'm approving, and if I'm throwing it by repealing it, if I'm just throwing it out, then I don't want to see it in the new one. I don't want to see all that same stuff in the new one, because why would I approve it here and dispose of it there? Okay. It doesn't make sense.
It does say, whereas though, the free residential post-Christmas pickup was removed in error, and the therefore of it is that we need to repeal the bylaw 4541 and to provide for a waste management system under the new bylaw. So it is I think it's fairly straightforward, but we'll certainly bring it up. Anybody else?
Just that I meant to email this to you and I forgot. There's just a typo, and it's so instead of on page 5, it says be kept in a neat pill instead of pile.
Okay.
So I don't know if that.
You guys, you can't pass it then if you want that changed. I can't make a grammatical change without it.
Okay, it's tabled.
Sorry.
All right, we'll move on to 5.2, 2-hour parking, bylaw number 4543.
I'm just going to wait for this one.
Sorry, Jen, do we need to, because we have the third reading on the agenda, can we just table it? Yeah.
We can't
okay.
have a third reading. If we don't
Yeah,
have a
no,
second.
I realized, I just didn't know if we needed to actually, amend the agenda and pass a resolution to remove it from the agenda, or if we can just table it.
Okay,
That's all.
and let the record show that Councillor Commodore has left the room declaring a conflict on this. This will be first reading, 5.2.1, 2-hour parking.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Ross. Whereas downtown parking has been an ongoing issue and the town has received numerous complaints. Therefore be it resolved that bylaw number 4543, being a bylaw of the Town of the Paw to amend Town of the Paw traffic bylaw number 2265, implementing 2-hour parking, be read for a first time. I guess it's not just straight up downtown parking, it's on Fisher Avenue from 1st Street to 4th Street,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Any other discussion on this? So one of the reasons, folks, with the camera, one of the reasons is that we've asked over and over and over, please do not park your vehicle in front of your business. That's for customer parking. And so if we had to act on it. Same thing, we asked, I don't know how many times we asked, please do not put your garbage in with your recycling, especially at the trailer at the UCN parking lot. Obviously, you didn't listen, so that trailer is no longer there. So it's now parked over by next door here to the town office. All right, I got carried away on that one. Then first reading. Any discussion? Here, no. Yes, Councillor.
I was a little concerned that it sounds like all we're doing is putting up some sort of signs that says there's a 2-hour parking control, but I'm not sure as to how much consideration has been given as to enforcement of, and what does that mean, and how do we fairly enforce it with everyone? Because if we draft this, the expectation is it will make a difference, and it will be an ongoing and continuous responsibility someone to do that. So I'm wondering, is that part of the original,
It was part of this discussion when it was on the committee of the whole agenda a few weeks ago. or a month
And the
ago
intent is
even.
that the protective services officer is going to issue tickets. I mean, is he going to stand there all day, every day, and issue 2-hour tickets? No. But presumably, he's going to have a system whereby he's passing through the downtown, parking tires like they do in the city, or some other evidence to support when somebody is parked somewhere, and if they've clearly been parked longer than 2 hours, then he'll issue them a ticket.
and the other thing is, like, is, in looking at the bylaw, the fines aren't really substantial, are they?
You get burned a couple
They're
times.
substantial enough that people maybe won't park their car for the sake of, even if it's $20 a day. I don't know. Are you going to park your car there every day if you're getting a ticket every day for $20? Probably not. Probably going to find the appropriate place to park it, and that's the whole goal.
Because, and I guess the other side of it is simply ticketing them there and letting them park for $20 a day, the issue, or multiply it every 2 hours? How do you?
Then you won't know that until, you wouldn't know that until you get into it, right? So this is where we're starting off.
This is the
If that's
discussion that
case,
we
if
had at committee of the
everyone's-
whole about
exactly,
this, so
If
there's
everyone's
no
going to
doubt.
park for $20 a day, then it's got to go up, right?
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It's step one. We have an issue down there. We don't have an immediate resolution, so this is step one to trying to solve a problem. We'll see how it goes. I don't think we need to have all of the alternatives figured out right off the hot step here with this thing. Let's try it and see. I'm pretty sure that if I was somebody parking downtown and I kept getting a $20 ticket every day or every second day, I'd be pretty quick to be like, wow, that's adding up pretty quickly. As opposed to
Any other discussion?
parking somewhere else.
Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of first reading? Opposed, if any? Thought so.
And you put Margaret abstained.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Where did she go?
Right there.
All right. On to committee report, 6.11, snow removal agreement.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Rock. Be resolved that council authorize the mayor to sign a snow removal agreement with the government of Manitoba as represented by the Minister of Manitoba Infrastructure and Transportation expiring April 30th, 2016. It's just an ongoing yearly agreement that we have with infrastructure and transportation to remove snow from the highways located within our town boundaries.
Any discussion on this? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? It's carried. I believe it's $251 a centimeter. That's what snow costs.
254.
6.3.1, AMM officials seminar.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Zelinski. Be it resolved that council authorize 2 members of council to attend the AMM Municipal Officials Seminar and Trade Show in Brandon in April of 2016.
And this is authorization for 2 of us. We haven't figured out who's going yet, but
Brian was one.
I think Brian's one, yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? It's carried. All right, 6.3.2, library board appointments.
Sorry. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rock. Be it resolved that council reappoint Jennifer Habarchuk to the library board for a 2-year term to expire January 31st, 2018.
Thank you. Good to see citizens step forward. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Nope. All right, 6.3.4 accounts.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Andrew Forwood, resolved that council authorize a grant in the amount of $1,000 to the Northern Juried Art Show for their 40th annual show, which is to take place April 7th to the 9th in Nepal.
This is the one.
What was it?
6.3.3 was the right one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I missed it. Pardon me.
Okay.
6.3.3, Northern Juried Art Show. My fault.
Oh, okay.
So that's good.
But that's exactly what you said.
Margaret knew what was up.
Yeah, she knew what was going on. Gee, I didn't get through it. I'll be darned. All right, sorry, any discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay. Now, 6.3.4, accounts.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Andrew Forward, resolved that council authorize the following accounts. Journal checks number 16670 to 16723 in the amount of $562,425.38 to pay the bills.
Pay the bills, pay the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? It's carried. All right. 6.4.1, marketing of lakefront lots.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Andrew Forward, resolved that council authorize the mayor to sign a real estate listing contract extension with Pineview Realty Limited for a term of 6 months to end August 29th, 2016, with 90-day updates to sell the Lakeview lots at a commission rate of 5%. And that's just renewing.
Any discussion?
So you're
Of course.
aware, Jim advised me the other day that he's got 3 inquiries.
Is that 3 inquiries? Good to hear.
In the last 2 weeks.
The last 2 weeks. Yeah.
Good to hear.
Put an ad in the Trappers booklet that said like, with a picture, I changed the ad that you sent with like a picture of, I stole from my uncle of the view of the lake and said, you know, if you want to own your own piece of paradise, visit our website for more information.
I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? It's carried. Oops, oh, gee.
It was a full page ad in the Trappers booklet. No, it's about halfway through.
Right, 6.6.1, airport airside call-out rates.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Ford, whereas the airport manager recommended a fee increase for calling rates as the town of DePauw is the lowest and has not been increased for quite some time. Therefore, be it resolved, council authorize the rate increase for call-outs at the airport, DePauw Airport, from $175 to $350. I believe this is consistent with Flin Flon.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? It's carried. 6.6.2, de-icing rates.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Ford, whereas DePauw Airport currently charges for only the product with regards to de-icing, and whereas the airport manager recommended an addition of a service fee for de-icing. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the addition of a service fee for de-icing in the amount of $350 plus the cost of product. And be it further resolved that the service fee for Comair be $290 plus the cost of product, as they provide annual training of de-icing procedures to the DePauw Airport staff.
Any discussion? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. We'll move down to citizens. 9.1, Mobility Disadvantage Transportation Program Operating Report.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Ford, whereas the town of DePauw is the sponsor under the Mobility Disadvantage Transportation Program for the DePauw Handy Van. Therefore, be it resolved that council authorize the mayor and the assistant chief administrative officer to sign the Handy Fan annual operating report to be submitted to the Mobility Disadvantage Transportation Program. Could you make an acronym for that?
It's got to be easier. This is a time factor issue. So that's what it is. We, the town of DePauw, of course, looks after any deficit that the handy van might incur. They're fairly confident there will be none until they have the official report. They can't say that, but they need to move forward with their application for new grants. So that's what we're moving this year.
It's due March 1st.
Right.
And
They-
they get their funding.
They thought that we were still meeting twice a month, and there would be plenty of time for that to happen, but we won't be meeting again, I think, until March 14th, so it's quite some time.
Oh, really?
So we'll get on course. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Okay, it's carried. Okay, committee reports. My new fancy sheet. Museum Board, Councillor Rock.
Yes, I attended my first meeting last week, and I found it to be a very interesting, well-organized board. I noted I had some big shoes to fill, having followed Andrew, and now I'm sitting on Finance Committee. But moving forward, it was business as usual, and good meeting.
Okay, Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Commodore.
We had our AGM, which I missed most of it because I was in a recycling meeting. But there was Terry Hamilton, had a little talk show there, which apparently was well received, and that's about all I got out of it.
It was a very informative meeting. I've attended a lot of Chamber of Commerce AGMs, and that one, it was really
very
good.
good.
So I was pleased to have been there. All right, the Pioneer Justice Network, no meeting. Sustainable Forest, Councillor Rock.
Yes, I attended a meeting last Thursday. The group went out on a tour of a woodcutting operation out at Mitchell Lake Road and whatnot, which was very interesting and informative to all. For me especially, because a number of the committee members are old-time forestry people and TOCO or REPAP workers, so it's enlightening that way. The other big item that the committee's looking at now is there's an annual report that comes out that and now I forget the title of it exactly, but it's one that the committee has to review and basically give its approval to, so we'll be working on that going forward because it's part of a serious process with regard to supporting TOCO and performing the government-required
It's the CSA
committee work.
certification report is what it is.
Okay.
CSA.
CSA.
All right, thank you very much. Citizens on Patrol, Councillor Zelinski and Commodore.
No meeting.
No meeting, okay. Recycling Board, Councillors Forward and Commodore.
There was a meeting, but we didn't have quorum, so there was not officially a meeting. We did, however, review the agenda and talk about some current items, and so the new truck was received and is now in use. The grant was received entirely, so they initially distributed, I think it was 90% of the funds, and then there's a 10% holdback, so our manager out there followed up with the appropriate paperwork to receive the last 10%, which is good, so that was $20,000 from the Manitoba Community Services Council towards that truck. So that's a completed project. We had a look at some capital expenditures for the upcoming year in our budget. We are looking at installing a dumping bed for the back of the pickup truck, and part of the reason for that is because we're handling so much garbage. So there's a real issue at the trailers with garbage, so I would encourage everybody in the public and otherwise, if you see somebody at the trailer dumping what is clearly not, or even maybe just not, recycling, please confront them on it. I pulled in there on Saturday afternoon a few weekends back, and there were more crows at the trailer than there were people at the trailer, and I proceeded to pick up 3 torn bags of everything from dirty diapers to fish guts to whatever. So, it's not a good scene. That was at the UCN trailer. The UCN trailer is particularly bad. It's as though the people that were doing the issues at the Bell Avenue trailer that's been pulled have now just moved over to the UCN trailer. So we're on the verge of having to pull that one too, and that's a shame because that trailer services a couple of apartment blocks that are nearby there as well, and I think we see a tremendous amount of recycling there as a result. But people are...
It's already gone.
Is it gone already?
It's gone,
Yeah.
So I know that, so that's an issue. Additionally, this past weekend, we had some vandalism at the trailers that were parked over here by the town office. So we saw the controller boxes, because they're electric brake trailers, were torn off and destroyed. The plugs for the receiver hitches were torn off and destroyed. And not all of them, but on some of them. So vandalism happens, unfortunately, but this is a not-for-profit, guys. This is taxpayers, so I don't know if anybody knows anything. Please report it to the police. We'd be happy to hear about it. And on a happier note, Marjorie Greenwood has officially accepted the manager's position. She's been our assistant manager for some time, We had some transition going on, we had an injury at the workplace, and so we didn't have the manager's position. We weren't able to fill it on a permanent, full-time basis, and that situation has rectified itself. Marjorie has accepted the position as a full-time permanent manager for us, so that's good news.
That's great news.
Yeah, and she's doing a fabulous job, and also, there was one other thing, what was I going to mention?
Liner box?
Sorry?
Liner box?
No,
Box
that one. I think that must have been it. That's it for now.
Great, thank you very much. Council Recreation Commission, Councilor Gibb.
No meeting.
No meeting. Park Community Renewal Corporation, Councilor Marsh.
No meeting yet.
Library Board, Councilor Zelinski.
No meeting.
All right. Brian, you attended a meeting, you want to make a report on it?
Oh, no, just to do an update, I got an email, and the Gateway Creighton Corridor Inc. group has been a little bit dormant since last fall, and they've got an AGM they're planning for on April 12th, which would be held here in Nepal. And also, they're looking at on March the 8th at 10:30, they're looking at a teleconference meeting to catch people up, so I'll be attending both of those.
Good, okay.
I just,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead.
When was the AGM there? What days?
April,
The AGM is April the 12th at 10:30 is what they're...
Thank you.
I just thought one thing we might want to add to the committee reports is we have the joint committee of council that Councillor Commodore and Rock sit on with the RM of Kelsey to talk about the service agreements, and it might be something worthwhile to add to the committee list so that we can get an update on that. I don't think we've ever had an update from those meetings, so.
okay, that's a good idea. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn then?
Motion
Okay.
adjourned.
Councilor Marsh, seconded by Councilor Gibb, we're adjourned.